What's up, guys? So I'm here with my coach Chewy. I wanted to actually get his thoughts on something. So there's been this video about jumping guard, and this guy gets his knee pretty jacked up from getting his guard jumped on, I guess.
I did a video about that probably 10 years ago because they banned it at the lower levels.
Yeah.
And I was good. And I remember I threw a bunch of videos out of people doing guard jumps, and it's just such a dangerous move.
So I'm going to show Chewy this video, get his reaction. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about kind of what happens to the knee. And this is kind of one of the worst case scenarios. And then Chewy, we can maybe talk about one alternate thing, something to be aware of, and maybe something to do to just hopefully, if you notice somebody's trying to pull guard on you, what you can do to kind of react. So let's show you the video. So hit play there.
I'm gonna look at that again. So he's dropping down. Ooh. That knee, it's like that lead right knee, and it looks like that he knew the guy was pulling because
he's
bringing his leg up like he knew the guy was going to jump guard, so maybe he knew what he was going to do.
Yep.
But he's standing so upright, and then that lead leg, his legs already.
His knee's already in.
His knee was already in when he was going down, and it planted, and that was it.
Yep.
I mean, the ref knew it was up. I'm surprised the opponent didn't really seem to care. The ref was he was instantly oh man, the guy was rolled over. I'm I don't know, man. If you did that, you did something. I'd feel bad for the dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sucks. I'm not a big fan of jumping guard anyway. From a fighting standpoint, it's I don't like jumping guard because it's my brain. Even though I'm a competitor, I love jiu-jitsu, and I always think about a fighting aspect. Chris Howder said it pretty well. You can train, and he said it. What did he say? He said train sport. But in your mind, you're thinking about the street, right?
Think street,
train sport. And I like that idea, right? You're always thinking about how this would work in a fight. And then I'm not trying to be that guy, but I just don't like the idea of jumping guard, and just the danger to me. It's outweighs, because we can just pull guard. You can literally just sit. You can grab a collar and you can just drop, and it works just fine. I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah, you can pull guard, or you can literally sit to your butt and then butt scoot if you want to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot better ways to get into it. And so in that video, that guy's knee, let's kind of talk about what happened.
Jumping guard, you slam yourself you're slamming your back on the ground.
People have knocked themselves out before.
You have, but even just think about it. If you're slamming your back, even if you don't knock out, you're literally slamming your back on the mat. It's just I can just grab your collar and I can do a hell of a guard pull, throw you off balance, and be ready to go into a half guard, a butterfly, X guard, whatever it might be. And I didn't slam my back into the mat, so that's a plus.
Yep. Well, so guys, what happens? I'll be the guy that got his guard. You jump on guard. Basically, you're jumping on me.
Right.
So when Chewy comes in, and he's coming in and he's jumping, what happened to that guy's leg was his leg kind of hyperextended and rolled in. Now, when that happens, it's a bad situation because you can tear your ACL, you can tear your MCL, your PCL. You can literally destroy your whole knee and also cause some fractures in there and tear your meniscus. So that's probably the worst case scenario. And that guy probably did a lot of those things. So again, it's not safe. There's a lot. Chewy said there's a lot of different things you can do to get the fight to the ground, essentially. But in that instance, you want to have, for me, have a good stable base. Have your knee kind of in line with your foot. If your knee starts to collapse inward like this, it's very vulnerable, and then you start to really cause some damage onto all those ligaments and the cartilage in the knee. That's a bad injury and sometimes career altering. So,
well, that's anytime, right? It's anytime our knee begins to buckle inward like this. I mean, we're putting ourselves at potential risk, because you'll see jiu-jitsu guys sometimes when they're doing certain passing positions, you'll see their legs kind of knees kind of buckle inward, and it always makes me just cringe because I'm man, that's structurally, we're not putting ourselves in a good position. Sure, we might get away with it for a while, but it only takes one time where all of a sudden everything aligns up and that's it.
And if the guy jumped guard and it was higher, maybe it's okay, but he jumped right here low. And
his body weight fell on.
Just right there, kind of the way he landed. So Chewy, if we're kind of squaring off and I want to jump guard, you anticipate that I'm kind of setting up to jump guard. What are you going to do? What are some things you're going to kind of focus on and try to keep yourself safe?
Yeah, so I mean, again, if I think that the person's going to jump guard, and I don't know if the guy did or not, but he was early on in the thing, he was lifting up his knee here, right? So he's lifting his knee up. So I imagine he's anticipating, because if the guy does jump guard and I bring my knee up at the same time, we can stop that. You'll see guys literally where one guy jumps the guard and they will jump up at the same time, and then they can blast past it. That requires some serious timing. For me, it's a little simpler than that. If I know a guy's going to pull, then I like to keep a hand forward And I'm not going to be too attached to the collar, because part of what happened in that thing in that match was that when the guy jumped, this grip was attached to the collar. So as this guy fell, his posture became off balance, right? Where I think if, like, let's say if this guy was jumping, right, and this guy immediately started to go to the body, he could have maybe prevented it, or I don't think his weight would have been as thrown off.
Gotcha.
Thinking. So again, I'm not too attached to the grips here because I'll a lot of times push. I've had guys do this in competition where the guy jumps to try to jump guard, and I literally shove him. Right, like, now he fell, but that's on his own. Like, it's not a slam in IBJJF, not a slam in a tournament, because he jumped on me. I didn't do anything. I literally just, as the guy jumped, I gave him a little push. But what I'll typically do is, if I think this guy's going to pull on me, you know, I'll start to play a little bit more further back. If I can get inside control in the person right here, this is ideal because it's very hard for him to jump guard if he doesn't have an inside grip. Right, if he has an inside grip, we're playing this like even grip here, then obviously we're 50-50 and he can pull. But if I go on the inside of this arm, which a lot of jiu-jitsu guys, they don't really play around with this much, this inside tie grip, this works great to sort of nullify this collar grip.
Yeah, absolutely.
But from here, like, it's hard to do, but we can also put our hand against the belt here, right? So again, if you try to jump into guard, like, I'm keeping control of your hips here. And so I can play like this. And again, there's counters that he can do, but it's gonna make it very tough for him to run into the guard. Now, if nothing else, lock up with me, I can always play a little further back. So it's going to be harder for you to jump guard if my hands and my hips are back. So basically, if you ever go to a competition anyway, a lot of times guard pullers, they're going to play like kind of further back like this anyway, whereas like most of the time, if you're a little bit more aggressive with your takedowns, you're going to be engaging here. I would just be a little bit more passive, right? Because again, if I think you're going to pull on me, a lot of times I'm going to play a little bit further back, and as soon as you're jumping or pulling, I'm trying to make my reaction off of that. In a lot of cases, unless I'm trying to shoot right out of the gate. But the big idea would be to do something to control the hips. Like I like the belt. The belt's really good. Or controlling inside space. Yeah. And then again, playing with our hips back a little bit further, possibly, if we're worried about that guard jump, if maybe that's what the person
That inside position is excellent. Because, like, I feel like if you get an inside position, yeah, this is like, first of all, I feel like off balance already, and I feel like you can control. If I'm trying to jump, I mean, yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
It's just, that's fantastic position. And I think it really throws me off. So.
And I mean, again, obviously there's some stuff that people can do if they know some good throws. There's some stuff they can do off of it. But what I like about this grip too is this feels pretty threatening. And in a lot of cases in my competitions, I've been able to maintain this inside grip, and I'll play really loose on it, and guys don't tend to check it as much as they do this, because like this is like a no-gi grip, right? Sure. But if we use it here, a lot of times I set up most of my sweep singles in the gi off of this grip here, because people don't check it as much as, say, if I get a really strong collar. So just something to maybe play around with.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of better ways to get the fight and get the match to the ground. But again, if you anticipate that somebody's going to jump guard on you, you know, like those ideas, that inside grip, even kind of playing back a little bit, I think those are great just to control posture and distance. Awesome.